Okay, Charlotte, round 11. 3, 2, 1. There's oval racing, there's road course racing, and there's this. The term Roval was coined by the sports car world after the 24 Hours of Daytona, and for so many years it was just that track that had their interior road course combined with superspeedway. The format exploded around the 1990s: California, Vegas, Texas, Atlanta, Kansas, Talladega, everywhere except Charlotte. They were looking to spice things up, and they certainly did. This track was built about a year ago. It was already expanding on the infield road course that existed, but they've adapted it to the big, bulky stock cars, and this is where the 2019 Solstice ProLine Cup Series regular season ends. It's Dylan Body next to me in the commentary box. I am Josh Mertz as we welcome you to live flag-to-flag coverage on the Automotive Sports Network from Concord, North Carolina. And Mr. Body, I have to say, playoff ender. Philip Kraus is back. Schwallenberg's faster than the rest of the field. Ryan Mercurio's here, and no Michael Frisch. Where do you want to start?
I'm thinking we should probably start with this number 88 car out here, man, because he's been putting a hurting on him in practice, and it seems like a couple of these guys are finally finding what he's found that's made him so fast here as they're going through qualifying. But for a while there, we were really thinking we were going to have a runaway on our hands tonight.
As if we were looking through practice, he was about half a second to nearly a second faster. We'll get to looking there as we are in happy hour now. But the big thing is we're going to pull this up. The schedule that's on screen here. We are the final race in the regular season before we start the wild card. And Dylan, I have to say, will we see maybe Mercurio or Schwallenberg take points away from one of these guys that need to get in?
Yeah, it's definitely something you got to worry about, especially with, the kind of guys we have. I mean, Kraus, too, he's a ringer. He's not always here. The three of the top four qualifiers here are guys that aren't really in the championship picture and are just here to get these points. And like you said, they're going to be trying to take points away from some of these guys that are trying to make the cutoff.
As we see Brandon Lambert on screen now, and we get ready to roll here in Charlotte. 2 stages, lap 15 and lap 44. Strap in, put the helmets on, pull the belts tight, whatever you want to do. And thank you for hanging out with us as we begin this 11th round of the championship. And like I said, Philip Kraus dominated in Dover. He is back. Frisch still struggling in his championship defense. Schwallenberg, Mercurio, and maybe Poteet can squeak something away here tonight in Charlotte. As we look at Lambert rolling into the chicane, and we know how difficult that this is going to be.
Yeah, this is a place on the track that we're going to have to really watch tonight. You can see right now he's going really slow, letting everybody know where is and where is not okay to run. I believe the rules were on entry to the bus stop. It's you can't be on the red, but on the exiting side, you can have 2 wheels on the runoff in the red area. So that'll be something interesting to watch. Keep an eye on that and how Solstice polices that if it becomes an issue.
As we mentioned through that entire intro piece that Dylan Schwallenberg faster than most of the field, and we talked pre-race how Philip Kraus is going to figure out this track. He has the pole sitter 1 minute 21.457 Dylan Schwallenberg, 1 minute 21.478 for Philip Kraus. That should tell you something. Jeremy Stanley and Mercurio on the second row of the grid. Lambert, Bailey, third row. Wetz, Columbia. Erdman, Poteet. Dylan Smith and DeRozier. And then Steve Rada and Nick Baker on the 7th row of the grid.
Yeah, and I mean, the field really tightened up here in qualifying. I mean, we were talking a lot in the early stages here, getting ready to go before we went live, about how the field was so spread out. Everybody seemed to be a second or two off the next guy. But now we come through qualifying here, and almost the whole top 10's within about a second of each other. So we thought we were going to have a bit of a, spread out kind of race, but now it's looking like we're going to have some action here early. And then, these first couple corners are going to be really critical. If these guys, don't get through them well in the front, it's going to give a lot of these guys in the back the advantage. And once you get out front, and get settled into a run. Catching a guy at a road course type of track is difficult in itself, but getting around them is even harder, especially here because there's only really maybe 2 or 3 passing zones that are really actually good for passing that aren't going to put you in danger.
The only thing that I can think of, I mean, the chicane's been reprofiled going into today's race because we saw the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series fly through that backstretch chicane, so they've really properly made it a left-right. You got to slow down. In this chicane where Jimmy Johnson had his demise last season, you'll notice they're going to run the restart zone like the NASCAR boys do. That final chicane, I'm thinking maybe turn 1 if you can get a good run through the first chicane or the final chicane. But it's really kind of follow the leader through that whole first
Yeah.
sector, through the whole infield, really.
Yeah, no, I mean you could get lucky where when you come past where pit road merges back into that downhill sweeper, you could probably pull off a move there, but you got to be careful because if you overshoot that, you're going to go wide and screw up your whole next set of corners, and it's just going to give the advantage right back to the guy you just got around.
As we are currently hanging out and waiting, no cars on track. Actually, Dylan Schwallenberg on track. I believe we're going to be starting happy hour now.
Yep, here they all come.
As the cars start rolling off, Cole DeRozier, Dylan Poteet, Joey Bailey, Brandon Lambert, Dylan Schwallenberg. Everyone on track here, getting ready to grab some extra laps.
Smooth 44 laps tonight.
As DeRozier's been struggling in practice.
Definitely not been having a fun time here in practice.
But he is currently sitting. Let's take a look here. He's currently
qualified
sitting
12th.
As I have appeared to lose the standings graphic. He's sitting in 12th in points. And Poteet, the man we have on screen, is sitting right out of the playoff bubble. Now, this is the race that Poteet has to get really a good finish over DeRozier because he's had some bad luck, and we know the 31's fast.
Yeah, he's definitely been a competitive car when he's been here. Missing a few events has kind of put him in a box where he's really got to, crunch time it tonight. I mean, obviously there's going to be one more chance with the wild card next weekend, but this is, you want to be in now. You want to be able to go into Daytona confident and knowing that you're going to be all right, because that's a nerve-wracking place. And a wild card in a plate race, as we saw, can be really eventful. And if I'm him, I want to come out here and get as much as I can tonight and try and get myself locked in. That way, I don't have to worry about Daytona and using that as my lock-in.
As I know, I talked about how I was supposed to be in the car, which I totally was, but some unforeseen circumstances here. High Voltage Media Production, Automotive Sports Network. So coverage is over here on ASN tonight, and I'm in an air-conditioned commentary box, which isn't the worst place to be. The cars are very warm, but it is what it is. I felt like I would have kind of been in the way anyways, and I know we don't need another wild card on a wild card, so that probably wouldn't have been the best of ideas, but I think this race is going to be a very fun one. This track's been very difficult. We have Philip Kraus actually going to be our in-race reporter. We'll pull him in just a couple moments to see what he has to say, but he's been telling me before we went on air this track is very hard to drive.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. Definitely be excited to get his take on it once we get him up here, and we can cue him up once he's ready.
Member joined.
As I'll actually grab him in now, Mr. Philip Kraus. It's Josh Moritz, the commentary box. You got me?
Howdy.
You were telling me early on that this track is very difficult, not with those nice words. What do you have to say so far before we get going?
After you actually get some laps on it, it's pretty fun. I haven't driven this before, so it's a learning curve, and I haven't driven road courses in a long time now. So I probably started driving it out like a rally car, As it turns out, a stock car does not drive like an MRT rallycross car. Who would have thought?
That's a very valid point. I had that same problem actually when I raced in Colorado, where I hit the brakes and tried to lock up the back, and that doesn't really help. But we'll let you practice up here. We'll pull you in, and good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Contact.
As a couple program notes, we were a little behind on schedule for the NASA Rallycross broadcasts, so we will hopefully get those up to you shortly. For my day job, they sent me downtown Chicago, so we weren't able to get some stuff done yesterday. And I didn't get home today until about 11 a.m., and I decided to sleep all day. So we're going to get that stuff done during the weekend. So we will get Valgenswaard and Las Vegas, probably have a triple header of ASN coverage next Thursday, as I do think Solstice is off. Because if I look at my calendar, they race on the 6th. So I do think we have next week off. So next week we'll have a triple header of NASA Rallycross coverage on the Automotive Sports Network. Valgenswaard, Las Vegas, and then we go to Bent Twig in Vancouver. Not going to spoil anything, but certainly a couple fun races there. And Bent Twig is always a fun race. Got about 50 seconds left here in Happy Hour, Dylan, and I have to say, Dylan Smith has popped up as fastest, 1 minute 22.375. We didn't expect that.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's a little slower than some of the laps these guys put down for qualifying, but it seems like this is probably more the pace we should expect in the races. The faster laps being these low 122s, because there's not going to be a lot of, open track like there was in qualifying for these guys to be able to hit their marks as perfect as they want. But yeah, definitely seeing some of the guys that, we didn't expect kind of creep to the front. Seems like everybody's kind of getting a grasp now on the circuit and the few changes that have been made, and everybody seems to really be finding their rhythm. So I think we're going to have quite a nice little race on our hands tonight, Josh.
Let's take a look here and see. We're just trying to get everything sorted on the back end here, as we got a little bit of time to do so. And this race is going to be a real good one. And I know I've said that literally like 10 times already.
Y'all ready to go up there?
But I'm very excited to see.
Another little wrinkle to throw into the equation here. I'm hearing a lot of chatter on the pit road from a lot of these teams, what radio communication we do have, and a lot of these guys are very uncomfortable with the pit stalls. Apparently very close, very crowded feeling on pit road. Might be something interesting to keep an eye on tonight.
Drivers, to your cars.
As we begin to grid here in Charlotte, and Solstice crew didn't tell us where to set our cameras up, so we're going to have a rough time tonight. Hopefully you bear with us with these camera placements, although I'm looking at one camera where it's directly looking at the field. I think that camera's right in front of us here, so we'll get a decent shot for you guys.
Yeah, the view from the booth up here, actually, I mean, there's a few places where with the elevation changes in the infield and some of the obstacles in the way, the view's a little obstructed, but overall, I can see a lot of the action from up here, so I'm looking forward to watching this one with my eyes here tonight from the booth.
As on pole, Schwallenberg, and then it's Philip Kraus, Jeremy Stanley, Brian Mercurio, Brandon Lambert, Joey Bailey, Chris Wetz, Arnold Columbia, Cody Erdman, Dylan Poteet, Dylan Smith, Cole DeRozier, Steve Rada, Nick Baker. We rev them up in Charlotte.
Drivers, start your engines!
In this race, you'll notice on timing and scoring, like always, it's going to pop up. There's 50 laps. That has built-in overtime. We're going to lap 44. And a little bit of breaking of the fourth wall, Dylan. I bought this Stream Deck yesterday. It's the greatest thing ever. Everyone, this is we might have a little bit of growing pains. This is the first time that we're using this little box, and it's the greatest thing ever. I'm not sponsored by the Stream Deck, but oh my god, you need to buy one if you're streaming. It's fantastic.
Yeah, not trying to be like making a sponsor plug because we're not affiliated, but this is something we've been wanting to try out for a while over here on the network, the networks, I should say. And finally excited to get to try it tonight. Like Josh said, bear with us if it's a little bit finicky, a little bit strange tonight. We're trying to figure everything out on our end. And as we continue to grow and use it more, things are just going to get better and better, so stay tuned.
As we go through the bus stop, we're going to munch up this field. 14 cars, 44 laps. This is going to be a good one. I just feel it. I feel it. It's going to be a good one. And
it's going to be a fun race.
Schwallenberg, Kraus, there's really no points on the line for any of these guys. It's going to be interesting to see who will come out on top here in Charlotte. Safety cars off. Schwallenberg and Kraus will lead us down to the line as we will go green at the Roval.
Kraus gets a good restart, hanging tough on the outside. Going to let off a little early here going into the first turn, though.
Into turn one. Schwallenberg will lead us. Huge lead over Kraus. Huge lead being a couple car lengths. But everybody else is gaggled back. Jeremy Stanley, it's 3 wide. Bailey looked to the inside of Mercurio. Those cars look very similar, but they're not at all teammates, as Stanley in second. Third, Kraus. Want to round into the wall. It's Wetz, and Dylan Smith involved as well with Poteet on the first lap of the race.
Ah, man, not what Poteet needed to see, and it looks like DeRozier's going to get slowed down in time to avoid being caught up in that. Not the start that Dylan was looking for here in the 31, but hopefully the team can rebound, and he can not be done so early with his hopes of making it into the playoffs.
As I'm going to take a look and see what had happened on the restart here, or on the start, I should say. It was very tricky. Everyone got bottlenecked up. We're going to actually pay attention to the middle of the field here.
Yeah, it seemed like Dylan Smith was really having a bottleneck with 39 and 71, and yeah, it looks like to me this 71 just got into the marbles or the grass a little bit off the corner and slowed down just enough that the one got into him, and it just chain reaction at that point.
So Lambert runs it wide. Wetz runs off on the curb. He lost it on the curb. The right
that's
rear
what
clipped the
happened.
curb. Yeah.
That would definitely explain it.
That makes a lot of sense. As again, Wetz is one of the NASA guys, and in that series you have to utilize the curbs, but in a stock car they don't play very nice. Lap 1 of 50, sorry, 1 of 44. I already caught myself out with the timing. Schwallenberg is going to lead us. We're going to see who pits on the first opportunity. Bailey and Columbia will. And Rada pits, Poteet, DeRozier, Wetz, and Baker. So it looks like a good split between half of the field pits and half the field does not.
Restarting here.
As the infamous Solstice destroy your car means we are restarting.
Gosh.
Yep.
We had some dead cars. We had to restart.
As I'm thinking because of that wreck that was, I think when Wetz hit the tire barrier, that's why. That's what caused that.
Yeah, I think there was an issue. Yeah, the object led to some...
So now we sit and we wait
Drivers
for everyone to
to your
regrid.
cars.
So actually, well, we won't pull them back in, but we're gonna take a look on this when they start to see. So now we act like nothing ever happened. And 14 cars getting ready to regrid here in Charlotte, North Carolina. As I didn't catch the reason why we did a restart. I had a feeling that we would, but they got to roll out the backups and we try it again. As Schwallenberg and Kraus, Schwallenberg had a great start that first time around. Let's see if he can replicate it as we rev him up in Charlotte once again.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the one thing I'll notice, those curbs are like ice, Dylan. You hit the curb, you're in the wall. So we're gonna see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty black and white. Lights out. You hit the curb, it's over. So far it doesn't look like it's gonna be fun. Maybe someone will figure out a way to use them effectively. But as of right now, I don't think that's gonna be a place anybody wants to be.
And Schwallenberg on pole over Philip Kraus, over Jeremy Stanley, and then Mercurio, Lambert, Wetz, Bailey, Columbia, Poteet, Erdman, Dylan Smith, Cole DeRozier, Steve Rada, Nick Baker. Is this 11th round of the Solstice ProLine Cup Series? We have 7 races left as we go to the wild card in Daytona. And then we finish out the season with a round of 3 and then another round of 3. I would say the director didn't key up a graphic, but I'm the director, so I'm going to kick myself. Otherwise, I'd go over the format of the playoffs. We're not there yet, though. We still have to get through 44 laps. Here in Charlotte, we had to restart. Everyone rolled out the backup car. Let's try it again as the safety car to pit lane, and Schwallenberg and Philip Kraus Down to the restart zone. We'll restart the Charlotte Grand Prix. Green flag. Into turn 1. Schwallenberg's going to get a better run this time. From high above, Stanley side by side with Philip Kraus. As Kraus hits the wall, puts Stanley through to second. As we go through the field, side by side, Dylan Smith and Poti. DeRozier's having issues in the 23. I don't know if he's having a car issue or not, but that's huge for him, as remember, he's on the playoff bubble. Wets into the grass again, and he's gonna, I think, no, he doesn't hit the wall this time. Nearly does it though, but now he's back around 10th.
Yeah, definitely not good for him. That corner's been giving him some issues, it seems like, tonight. You know, it's two times in a row in the start. He's gotten a little out of shape there. Somebody's gonna have to clean up.
Schwallenberg ahead of Stanley, ahead of Philip Kraus. We know how quick Philip Kraus is and how quick he is to adapting. Stanley got a huge run through oval turns 1 and 2. As we go down the backstretch into the bus stop for the first time. Who's going to be the late outbreaker? Schwallenberg's going to miss the corner nearly, side by side. Columbia with Bailey. Bailey does not get a good run off the corner.
The 60 car definitely seems fast on the speedway part of the track. He's definitely closing in every time they're under power.
And down into the final chicane. Will he make the move? Gets close as we begin the second lap. Schwallenberg pulls him on the twisty bits, but Stanley aces the oval portion of the track, and this is where a track like this gets very unique. Because there's two completely different racetracks in one.
Yep, it's not like, you know, a full purpose-built oval or a full purpose-built road course. This is just a little bit of both. We're just mixing it up. Very challenging for these drivers, and you know, you can definitely see the difference in styles and who's stronger where already.
As side by side, it was Dylan Smith and Cody Erdman in the back of the shot there. Between those two, the 1 and the 52 side by side. Columbia, and I believe that's Mercurio. It is position change for them. Remember, they came together in Valkenburg when Mercurio was a second faster than the rest of the field. And Schwallenberg really has pulled away from Stanley, it looks like.
Yeah, he's really been gapping him here. I've been watching. He's just been slowly but surely getting away. But oh, Stanley really overdrives the corner trying to make a run at him. He's going to hurt himself here as they get back into the speedway portion.
He's going to have to give up some time. Philip Kraus to the inside of Stanley. One on the wall, I think it was Dylan Smith or Cody Erdman. Those two white cars look identical. And into the chicane once again. It's so hard. Everyone's locking up into this corner. I've noticed. Every single car is locking up into this chicane.
Yeah, a lot of tire smoke makes it kind of hard to see what's going on down there. You know, coming through. These guys are definitely driving the hell out of it, trying to get themselves in position.
As 1.3 seconds, Schwallenberg over Philip Kraus. We're going to update you on our playoff situation. Steve Rada, who has been out of that playoff bubble for a while, goes down pit lane. Cole DeRozier, once again, has had some issues all evening long in the 23. So
Yeah,
not a good day for him.
No, another unfortunate outing. You know,
As I hate to interrupt,
this guy's having a string of bad luck.
we have 3 cars under a blanket for second spot. Stanley gets close to Lambert, who is close to Philip Kraus as well.
And Mercurio's starting to creep into that picture too for that race.
Side by side, Lambert and Stanley down the backstretch into the chicane. It's only really one groove, but you can send it like Stanley did. Lambert holds the inside, wheel spin off the curb, and Stanley powers out with the position. Mercurio goes to the inside.
3 wide.
He's going to send it on the inside, and looks like he's going to take both spots.
Sometimes in life you just gotta lick the stamp and send it, and that's exactly what Mercurio did there going into the oval.
Will Stanley try it into the chicane? No, he does not. But what a move by Brian Mercurio.
Yeah, showing some of that muscle we seen earlier in the season at Valkenburg with the road course prowess here. It's definitely showing off what he has and working his way up towards the front, not missing any time getting there. He saw an advantage and went for it.
As Schwallenberg now 2-second lead over Philip Kraus. If we take a look at fastest laps, 1 minute 23.676, 1 minute 22.992 for the 88. 91, and then Mercurio is about equal on lap time with the 91 as well. Side by side, Lambert and Dylan Smith. Lambert lost a couple spots after getting really swallowed up there in the bus stop. Poteet battling with Wets. And DeRozier down pit lane. Let's see what happens with the 23. I caught him right out of the corner of my eye here. He is pitting. And so is Rada, or Rada did pit in car number 3. So this is huge. Because if I take a look, I'm going to try and pull it up here. I think this might actually give Poteet the playoff transfer spot.
Things are getting interesting already in Charlotte.
I'll have to take a look here. Yeah, it's 5 points from DeRozier to Poteet, so we could basically call Poteet in. Rada's actually, this is hurting him, but I don't think he would fall out. Because Cosman, Rada, Baker, DeRozier, Poteet, Riley, Mercurio, and Chad Mikas. Mercurio is 50 points out. It would be, we'll just have to wait and see in Daytona in a couple weeks' time to update you. Because we don't have a live statistician. Both of our HVMP colleagues off in Arizona, strangely. Unsure as to why they're there. But, so we don't have a statistician.
We're just winging it tonight, guys. Bear with us. You know, we're just making things happen. And
As,
the 41 has just gotten around Philip Kraus here.
Hopefully you guys don't lose me, as my mic apparently is not plugged in, so I have to plug that in before it goes dead, and then we really don't hear anything.
Yeah, I was noticing some chirping on your end. I was gonna ask, but I didn't want to put you on spot in front of the whole broadcast.
Oh, there we go. We should be
Charging battery.
It says charging battery, so we should be good to go. As Philip Kraus had some issues in the chicane, so did Arnold Columbia. As I'm going to take a look and see, Erdman struggling as well in the 52 as I just went to replay shot.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but everybody was just kind of gagging.
Kraus outbroke himself, got into Mercurio, and had to stop in the bus stop. And then Erdman had some issues once we find him here. Rada's around in turn 2. Erdman in the 52 as well. So everyone's really coming unglued in stage 1 here in Charlotte.
Everybody except the 88 and the 41, they're both just kind of cruising along here.
Mercurio off the track just as you go to say that.
Oh, I really need to stop talking about people during these races.
Off the road goes Mercurio in the 41. You're going to put him back to 5th. Dylan Smith, Joey Bailey, Jeremy Stanley, and maybe Rada, maybe as in hopefully he doesn't do it, will hold up the 88. For everyone else's sake, absolutely be a moving chicane. That's what they're saying. But into the chicane, the bus stop. Once again, Rada locks it up. Hits the curb and sends him skyward. He's going to have to stay there for the moment. And I think that actually seals it. There's smoke billowing from car number 3. I think that's going to seal his playoff chances. Stanley got a hugely, I was going to say huge run, more like Bailey huge run, out of the bus stop, into the final chicane, and can Bailey close him? He does. What a move by Bailey there in the 51.
Wallenberg had a little bit of a bobble coming out of the chicane into the start-finish line there.
All of those cars just slid like a dirt car. Every single car. The 1, the 51, and the 60 all slid like a dirt car out of the chicane. So it's like there's no grip on this track. We'll have to bring in Philip Kraus when we get some time to talk to him, because it looks like these guys are just having a hell of a time controlling these cars.
Yeah, it seems like here about halfway through the stage, the handling's just completely gone away. Looks like they're skating out here as opposed to driving.
Rada on pit lane, so car number 3 not having a good day. As him and DeRozier are the only cars off of the lead lap. We'll find DeRozier here in the 23. DeRozier leaves the pit lane as well. There he is. Schwallenberg 5.2 seconds ahead of this gaggle, which is led by Joey Bailey. Stanley outbrakes himself into the chicane. Can he do it? And he runs wide. He pushed Dylan Smith wide, and now Smith is going to have to give up some time. Maybe, actually, no. I would say that's, I mean, a fair assessment from up here at least. Why would you have to give up time if you got forced to run the corner wide?
Yeah, I'll say if someone forces you, I feel like you just keep it in and go.
As what a race already here in Charlotte. 5.3 seconds for Schwallenberg over Bailey, who's ahead of Dylan Smith, Mercurio, and Kraus, the remaining top 5. If we take a look at the fastest laps here, 122.287 for Mercurio, 122.345 for Schwallenberg, then Mercurio. I think if Mercurio can get clear of the traffic, that'll solve all of his problems, but he can't get clear of the traffic to start hunting down the 88.
Yeah, it seems like when he's by himself, he does better. But I mean, he still did just have that issue when he was closing in on the 88, kind of by himself, where he ran off track.
As DeRozier, Baker, they're all struggling. Put it in perspective here. Baker's running 1 minute 33s. The leader is running 1 minute 24. So not a good day for car number 9. Remember, he won here last season, but it certainly wasn't the road course. It was the oval. A little bit of battle here between Mercurio again and Bailey. Mercurio got by Dylan Smith. Now he's going to work on Joey Bailey. I wonder if we're going to see some pit strategy before this stage ends. I would
I
wonder.
was just kind of thinking that same thing to myself.
As inside,
Feel like
Kraus
we've
on Dylan Smith. Can't get it done.
Got to be approaching a window where there's got to be some advantage to trying it.
The only thing I can think of is because they know the stage break is coming. It's not like the regular, it's not like the final stage where you have that time so you can make up the delta. If I was Schwallenberg, though, I would just keep pushing until you have the gap, and then you're able to take that spot, or take the pit stop. Erdman in the back of the shot there with DeRozier. We'll have to take a look and see. See if I can take a look. And the 52 has retired due to a header, and the 3 of Rada's also retired. So we put a nail in the coffin to Steve Rada's playoffs, I do believe. And we're
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
pull
barring something crazy at Daytona.
pull up a replay of Erdman here in the 52. I'm trying to listen. Oh, the engine grenaded on the 52. And reliability strikes again on the road course for the Area 52 boys. They did it in Lexington in Mid-Ohio last season, at the beginning of that season when he was leading. I believe he was leading. And then DeRozier spun, I think, in his oil. So unrelated, but yet related at the same time.
Yeah, the 41's gotten around Joey Bailey pretty quickly here and continued on.
As we cycle through the field, Dylan Smith is now second. Kraus is third. Mercurio is fourth. So I'm going to try and take another replay here. We keep pulling replays while we are dealing with some issues because Mercurio, that's what happened. Mercurio was battling with Bailey. Take a look at this. To the inside into the chicane. Mercurio outbroke himself, nudged Bailey, and they both hit the curb. Both came together, and they both ran it wide. Bailey actually basically spun, so put them back to 4th and 5th. So these guys who are on a tear trying to catch the race leader, almost pushing too hard and getting involved in a wreck.
Yeah, like I've noticed a lot of these guys get a little comfortable. They start trying to get a little aggressive, and then everything just kind of gets, out of control. It seems like, maybe you're just taking it easy and riding around and hitting your marks is a safer bet. But a lot of these guys keep trying to overshoot these corners and outbreak one another, and it just leads to some messes on the track.
As Kraus, Mercurio, Bailey, that's the top 5. As Baker is now 1 lap down, so we have 10 cars on the lead lap. Stanley, Wetz, Columbia, Poteet cuts the chicane on the 31 there. I think he has a down tire, though, maybe. The car looks like it's leaning, but we'll have to see. As we go back up front to the race leader, it's now Dylan Smith as Schwallenberg is pitting, so now the pit strategy begins. So Schwallenberg pits, Kraus pits.
Hearing from Dylan Smith's crew that he locked it up and the left front tire was just immediately shot after that lockup. So it
Actually,
seems like,
I think that was from Schwallenberg, actually, the 88 radio. So the race leader locked it up and put him on pit lane.
Yeah. Apologize for that. Too many Dylans in here is confusing me.
And especially because it only gives us the first letter, or the initials, and the number. So you have to know the number of the driver. DeRozier, I think, locked it up in the chicane. It's so tricky to do. You have your 3 braking points, and now this really opens up the race. Because, although, I could see both sides of this equation. Because Schwallenberg pitted early, but then he might actually just pit on the next rotation. Or will he stay out? As I think DeRozier did blow a tire as he did pit in the 23. Where is Schwallenberg? There he is, coming out of the chicane. And Kraus had to do the same thing. So Dylan Smith has 2.5 seconds over Mercurio. Remember, these two were battling in Valkenburg. We talked about how Dylan Smith, super fast in car number 1. Two and a half over Mercurio. And then it's 6.5 from Smith to Bailey. As these guys slowly getting farther and farther away. It's 21 seconds from Dylan Smith to Dylan Schwallenberg. And maybe the one crew is going to gamble and either pit or stay out. But again, the stage ends in 3 laps. It's just tricky to judge. As like we mentioned earlier on in the show, welcome to ASN's live coverage of the Solstice ProLine Cup Series, normally on HVMP, as Dylan Smith pits in the 1. And so does Mercurio.
Trying to close the gap on entry there, getting risky coming onto pit road.
Bailey is staying out, so we'll have to watch and see the rotation. So is Stanley. But now we'll have to wait and see. As Dylan Smith pits, so does Mercurio. Where is Schwallenberg? Schwallenberg in the chicane. There's no chance of them to hold him off. That's crazy. Schwallenberg's going to go right back to essentially the race lead. Because he's only 11 seconds off of Bailey. If I take a look, 1:22.358 was his last lap. Everyone else is in the 26s. There's definitely some tire wear going on.
Oh yeah, the 51 looks almost like he's crawling. The cars behind him are closing in.
As Stanley, Wetz, Lambert. I think Schwallenberg, by an unforced error, just created the best strategy you could.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seeming to work out for him so far. These guys didn't stand a chance.
He's currently scored 7th, but that was because of the pit stop rotation. There's Lambert in the 46 ahead of him. Like I said, before we had the little pit stop rotation there, as I can't even go over the program note again, as we got 3 cars, Jeremy Stanley, Chris Wetz, and Joey Bailey now. As Bailey, I believe, locked it up in the chicane. I think he's going to have to pit. He does. He locks it up. Does he have a tire down? He does in the 51.
That would explain why he was taking such good care of it that last lap. He knew it was going down.
2 laps to go in stage 1. Wetz is, I believe, he's not much quicker, 0.2 quicker than Jeremy Stanley. But he hits the wall in turn 2 there. Like I said, we're on ASN tonight due to our HBMP colleagues being in Arizona. And hopefully you can follow along with us. Also our camera crew. It was a last-second decision, so we don't have that many cameras, and we're also testing a new method of delivering this content to you. So we got a couple new things trying out. We got a couple hodgepodge kind of things, and hopefully we're giving you a decent enough show.
You know, these two, Wetz and Stanley here, pretty much nose to tail, but Schwallenberg is closing, and closing fast.
I mean, it was 3 seconds that last lap. 1:22.934 to a 1:26.467 between Wetz and Schwallenberg. Schwallenberg on those new tires, there's nothing stopping. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do but just keep riding it out and get the best you can out of it. He's gonna get by these guys.
And he passes the 71 right on cue, like he was standing still. We're coming to the white flag in stage 1. Jeremy Stanley wants these points.
White flag in the stage.
But he also has to hold off the 88 of Schwallenberg, who is flying Oh, it's not going to happen. Stanley's going to get passed by Schwallenberg entering turn 1 here. Unless
Yeah, I thought
Schwallenberg
he was
locks
gonna
it
have-
up. And that's it.
As long as he doesn't blow a tire, he'll be fine. If he locks it up, he's gonna be able to pit after this, you know, at the break here and get back on fresh rubber and get back out there. But yeah, those guys just didn't stand a chance. They look like they're moving
As
half
Poti
speed.
spins it in the bus stop. I think he's got a blown tire as well. DeRozier and Baker struggling. Columbia, I mean, I would say struggling so many times, you'd give me $1 for every time I said it. I wouldn't have to work. But the tires are just being eaten alive here. I think Goodyear brought a very soft tire compound. And obviously, ovals and soft tires don't necessarily work, but they were trying to compensate for the road course section. As the gap looks small, but it's certainly not because of, as Wetz jumps the curb
Oh man.
in the
that
71.
That car was a good 3 feet off the ground there. That
And
was
he hit the
terrifying.
ground hard, and it's killed the engine in the 71.
Yeah, something is broke big time in the 71. That's unfortunate.
Schwallenberg is going to come through the final chicane and win stage 1 here in Charlotte over Stanley. Lambert, no, Dylan Smith beats his team owner at the line. And Wetz is going to come home 5th in the stage. But there's huge damage to that 71 car.
Yeah, the development story here. Looks like it's still running. Maybe the team can get it fixed up and it can finish, but not looking good for the 71. That car was, like I said, it was a good 3 feet off the ground. When he came down, something definitely broke.
And everyone's not very happy with what just transpired. We'll have to take a look and see if we can figure this out. As he was going into the chicane, missed his braking point, and then hit the curb, and it just launches the back end up. And when it comes down, it breaks something in the car. So now we'll just have to wait and see. As let's try and pull in our stage 1.
Member
winner.
joined.
Hey, Dylan Schwallenberg, it's Josh Mertz up in the commentary box. You got us?
Like we're having some technical difficulties here.
As we'll put him back and try and get him back.
Contact. Member joined.
Hey, Dylan Schwallenberg, it's Josh Mertz in the ASN booth. You got us?
Seems like he's having some difficulties getting the mic switched over at the moment.
He doesn't have a mic.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So we did not get debriefed on that. So our stage 1 winner, unfortunately,
This is
unable
what
to talk
happens
to
when
us.
we're missing our analyst to be down there giving us all of this minute-to-minute information.
So here's what we'll do.
Member joined.
We'll bring in Jeremy Stanley instead, the driver who finished 2nd in stage 1. I'm going to ask you, what the hell's going on with this track? Because it seems like everyone's having issues.
Lots of tire wear and lots of tire heat. After a couple laps, the car changes completely. Tire spin is a major factor right now, and it's a handful. I was able to conserve my tire. My left front is basically dead. Most people had to pit because of the tire wear, so I'm just, I don't know. I'm gonna play a little conservative here on stage 2 and see how it runs for me.
Are you you worried about the 88 at all? Or I mean, you're not really racing him, but I mean, you'd like to win, I'm guessing.
I was worried about him until he keyed up and said he lost 2nd gear.
Oh.
Oh, more developing news. Thanks for that tidbit.
Oh, that changes everything. Well,
Jeremy Stanley, our new pit road analyst.
from the car.
This guy's
Alright,
killing
buddy.
it.
Well, we'll let you get off pit lane, and good luck in stage 2.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, have fun.
Contact. Contact.
Wow.
Oh, an interesting development, Josh. What do we have here? Got some gear issues on the 88? That's definitely not going to be good in a place where we're shifting as much as these guys are.
And 2nd gear is very important through this
That's an
first sector.
extremely vital gear through these sweeping corners and stuff.
I
you know,
mean,
this is.
I haven't ran the track, obviously, because, you know, fun fact, I was supposed to, but given the circumstances, I can't. He's going to get killed on the restart, and he's going to get killed in the chicanes. You might be able to roll third gear through the corners, but you're not going to get the torque out. This is going to be a huge task for the 51 crew, or the 88, sorry, if he can get it done without second gear.
Yeah, I mean, if he pulls that off, we're gonna have to take that car home to the Solstice compound for a teardown to make sure everything's legal.
Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone. Because I think we are going green this time.
Looking like we're gonna have 27 green flag laps. Do you think these guys anybody's gonna try and stop it?
With the tire wear, yes and no. I always see both sides.
Stanley almost had it pay off for him. I feel like if he can go 15, he can, 12's not nearly as far as 15 if he can make it 15.
It's going to be down to tire management, really. This isn't like F1 or IndyCar where you have a compound you have to run. It's just the same compound. So
yep.
You're not mandated to pit once or twice or at all. So, I mean, it just really depends. I mean, we saw Schwallenberg gobble these guys up, go 4 seconds a lap faster than everybody else. But we also saw Stanley pit once. Bailey leads Schwallenberg as we get ready to go green once again here in Concord for stage 2. And he already gets hit on the restart!
Oh, big trouble!
And Schwallenberg on the restart without second gear wads up the field.
Oh, and that's what we were worried about with him not having second gear. It was just how much faster these guys were going to be. And yeah, you can see it firsthand.
That answers the question. But I also have to say, I mean, why not have your crew chief tell the field, hey, I'm going to get out of the way? That's a thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I would have thought, might have been discussed, but it seems like it definitely just was not.
As Bailey, Smith, Stanley. While we're under this caution flag.
Member joined.
Going to bring our in-race reporter, Philip Kraus. Perfect timing, actually, to bring you in. Was there any discussion over the radio over Schwallenberg losing second on that restart?
There was a discussion right when the caution came out, but I think we forgot about it going to the green. Tried to keep it high, but there wasn't really that much room, so people drove into him.
As we
the
were
racing thing.
Talking to Stanley, because obviously Schwallenberg had some communication issues. He was telling us the track, tire heat, tire wear, all that fun stuff. I would assume you'd be agreeing with him?
Oh yeah, I'm having fun spinning out here.
As now that Schwallenberg doesn't have second gear, what's your game plan?
Honestly, if I wanted to be smart, I'd tell myself that I'm just going to ride around for the next about 15 laps or so, let people use up their stuff, but I'm bad at that, so realistically, I mean, I'm going to try it, but we know how good I am at being patient just watching NASA broadcast.
All right, my friend, we'll let you run around here. We'll let you get ready to get focused. Good luck.
Thank you. Have fun.
Contact.
This really, it changes everything without Schwallenberg having no second gear.
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is just, what is this now, the 7th, 8th race in a row that the Twilight Zone is once again settled upon us.
Were we on air or were we off air when you said I should change the intro music to the Twilight Zone?
That was right after we went off air last week. I said we should change the intro music for this week, and
I think we'll do it
I think you have to do it. Yeah, you have to do it for Daytona now.
It's just a thing. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be a thing. We gotta do the thing.
As Bailey, Dylan Smith, Jeremy Stanley, Columbia, Philip Kraus, that's the top 5. Poteet, Lambert, Schwallenberg, Mercurio, and Baker. And then looks like they got that car fixed for wets. I mean, at least it's not smoking. I don't know what entirely is going on there now, but yeah, him and DeRozier, everyone's on the lead lap. 2 retirements, Cody Erdman with a blown engine, and Steve Rada had that same issue that Wetz did. Jumped the curb, crashed the car down, but the 3 team was unable to fix that car up. As if you're just joining us here on the Automotive Sports Network, welcome to the 11th round of the Solstice ProLine Cup Series in 2019B. It's the final race before the playoffs. Normally we'd have a huge deal over who's going to be in, who's going to be out, but realistically, Poteet is kind of in, as DeRozier and Rada, well, Rada's off the track. They're both having some issues. As we're going to begin lap 20, we're going to go to lap 44, so almost halfway here, Dylan. And tire wear is a huge factor.
We're only,
it seems like after
talking
about 3
about
laps,
stuff that
it's
can't
an
be
ice
on
skating
there.
rink out here, to be honest. It's the only way I can describe it. These guys are slip sliding everywhere, just trying to hang on. You know, like I said, it's heavy tire wear and heavy tire heat. It seems to be an issue here, so that's a double whammy for a lot of these guys. You know, normally it's one or the other on the tracks we go to.
Green flag for stage 2. Well, the restart as we started stage 2, basically under caution. Into turn 1. Bailey and Dylan Smith, 3 wide. Poteet was on the outside of Columbia and Stanley. As we go through into the infield, Bailey's going to lead Smith, who leads Columbia. Stanley with an issue in the 60, put him off. And Baker into the wall in the 9. And where is Wetz? Wetz is hanging on to Mercurio there. So we have 2 fast cars with wounded race cars. Bailey, Smith, Columbia, the top 3 still.
Yeah, and Dylan Smith is not letting Joey Bailey get away. He's kind of keeping distance here, keeping close, trying to see if an opportunity presents itself so he can take advantage.
As I'm taking a look at the 88 of Schwallenberg, he has to come off of that corner in 3rd gear. And once he gets it out of the low rev band, he pulls him. But that initial start's killing him. As Poteet battling Lambert. Lambert's going to get past, it looked like, by Philip Kraus in the 91. So put the 91 up 1 spot. As Dylan Smith in the 1 parks it from 2nd. The gearbox goes on the 1.
Yeah, and that's another thing. These guys are shifting so much. A lot of gearbox problems tonight.
And another retirement for Dylan Smith in 2019B. He's had some good luck in NASA, but it's nowhere to be found here in Solstice.
Yeah, and unfortunate to see. You know, Dylan's one of those guys that's always out here, always putting the work in, always, you know, showing up, being consistently fast. But his bad luck just recently has just been exponentially worse than a lot of these guys. You know, just can't catch a break. I'm really sorry to see that happen to that team again.
1:22.501 was the last lap for Bailey. I think Dylan Smith had just ran the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.539. Or at least he got very close to running that fastest lap. So that crew, huge disappointment for him.
Now the question becomes, and it seems like it's a common question we have here, can anybody catch Joey Bailey?
He ran his fastest lap that last lap. If we take a look in the back, Columbia, Poteet, Kraus, 1 off the track. Stanley hits the curb and put him around in the 60, and he's going to have damage now.
Same thing. Motor appears to be hurt on that car as well. Let's see if he can limp it around and get it fixed.
We talked to him during the stage break, as Mercurio is going to get passed by Lambert in the 46. At least he's going to try. Mercurio on the inside, the winner from Phoenix and the winner from Valkenburg, going against Lambert, who won last week in Kansas. As I'm going to take a look and see Schwallenberg off the track in the 88. Stanley's not pitting, so I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, I noticed that as he came by, he stayed on the track. Seems like maybe he's going to just either run it till it dies or see if he can get another lap out of it.
So Bailey, 2.7 seconds at the line the last lap over Columbia. 22.6, 23.5, 23.1, 23.6. So Philip Kraus, these guys are really nowhere close to Bailey's pace. If we take a look through the entire field. As one around, one over! Mercurio launched off the curb, and upside down goes the winner from Valkenburg, and Wet spins it as well. Wow.
Wow. You know, I feel like tonight's been a slow creep on, but the Twilight Zone is making its presence known yet again. This is just wild.
Almost flipped it back onto the wheels.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it weren't for the spoiler, it might have came back over onto all four.
Caution is out again. And this is huge. It's basically a matter of who is not going to run wide in the chicane, because that curb keeps kicking them up. And Mercurio, the team, isn't even going to try. They're going to push the car behind the wall.
Like we said earlier, overdriving is not the answer here tonight. And it seems like these guys are overdriving, trying to really hit the bus stop hard, and it's not paying off for anybody.
Dylan Schwallenberg over the scanner says, running third gear through the infield feels like driving a lawnmower. Wow. So we just crossed halfway here in Concord in Charlotte. Jeremy Stanley still hasn't pitted after him hitting the curb, but a huge accident with Brian Mercurio sees the Valkenburg and Phoenix winner out, and he was one of the fastest cars here. And the field slowly is dwindling. As Dylan Schwallenberg for the first stage was untouchable. Hugely, much quicker. Huge gap, I should say. Huge advantage over the rest of the field. Blue second gear. And now we have Joey Bailey out front. Let's see who pits. Because this basically will take that strategy out of the equation. As Stanley pits in the 60 as well. I think he pitted and they were able to fix that car up. But we have 4 cars out of the race. Steve Rada, Cody Erdman, Dylan Smith, and Brian Mercurio, 2 of which had an issue with the curb, 2 of which had mechanical issues. As Schwallenberg pits, Kraus is going to angle the car so he can get out so he doesn't have to put it in reverse. As I lied, Stanley does now pit in the 60. And we're going to see if he can get that car fixed up. Is Bailey off of pit lane? Will Kraus beat him? Yes, maybe. We'll have to wait. I don't think... Was he credited? I think he was. Tentatively. But he'll be on the front row anyways. And just going back to your point, Dylan, these guys can't overdrive. And it's just instinctive as a racing driver to push when you are down on gap. And
it's your go-to for a guy who's behind trying to make up some time, especially in a road course. You think, overdrive a corner, get yourself in there, and if it sticks, you're good. But there's just too much risk for the reward here, in my opinion. It's just, we've seen it bite everybody in the butt tonight.
As Kraus will lead Bailey. Looks like he was credited. Lambert, Columbia, Schwallenberg, Wetz, Poteet, Baker, DeRozier, Stanley. So Stanley, the crew for the Stanley team, they're able to get him back out. So good to see him after having those issues in the chicane. Wetz is saying that his car is very good until they get to the oval. So maybe we'll expect Stanley to do the same thing. Be very good on the road course because you don't need to get to the higher rev bands. But it's that
you can be
dreaded
smooth
curve.
in the infield here and carry some speed without having to run it hard. But yeah, definitely when you're in the oval full throttle, the engines are going to be lagging there because of the damage they've suffered. So I mean, it could be an interesting payoff if they can stay close enough to keep themselves in the mix, or if a couple more guys hit that curb. It could really be anybody's race.
Oh, green.
They get ready to go green here on lap 25 of 44. At this rate, Schwallenberg might win the race without second gear, but we'll have to see. As Kraus and Bailey, front row, Lambert, Columbia, Schwallenberg, Wetz, Poteet, and Baker, green flag. Into turn 1. Kraus is going to lead. Lambert peeks to the inside as Schwallenberg locked it up. Nearly got into the 39
Nearly
of
took out
Columbia
the
there.
whole field there. That was terrifying to watch.
Is Lambert in third, Columbia fourth, fifth is Wetz. Schwallenberg has to run this car first or third gear. He was saying over the scanner if he feels lucky, he throws it into first at the bottom of third gear. To the inside of him goes Poteet on the 31. As one around, it's Wetz. I think he clipped the left rear on the grass there, and it sent the man from Texas spinning.
Yeah, and when the racing surface is already like an ice skating rink, hitting the grass is definitely not helping your cause. It's just going to really send these cars around quick.
As Kraus now stretches the advantage. We're going to see Kraus beat Bailey again. We saw it in Barcelona for NASA Rallycross. Into the chicane. This is the action point. That curb spits you up. And we saw a huge crash with Mercurio. And here's Wetz and Stanley in the crippled car class. As Wetz is going to spin it again, he gets hit by Stanley, so that doesn't help him.
Don't look now, but Joey Bailey got a good run on the second half of the track there. Seems to have reeled in Philip Kraus a little bit.
As Kraus, terrible run as we're under caution. So everything I just told you, I was going to say terrible run through turn one, but it puts us under
Yeah,
caution.
I was getting ready to join in with you, and then I was like, wait a minute.
I think the caution is out due to Wetz. Yes. I'm thinking due to Wetz and Stanley. As the Twilight Zone certainly coming to the fore here in Solstice racing, I have to say. It's just a thing. It's going to happen all the time.
Yeah, it's just a part of who we are now. Nothing we can do about it except sit here and just get through it and enjoy it for what it is. It's led us to some great racing, fantastic finishes, exciting coverage, and it looks like we're going to continue to have that through the rest of the season be here.
As let's take a look and see. So if we go forward, Kraus, Bailey, Lambert, Columbia, Schwallenberg. Schwallenberg came over the scanner, said a naughty word in here, but he said, how am I fifth? How am I fifth without second gear? So the pole sitter still sitting in a top
Twilight
five
Zone.
position.
Hashtag Twilight Zone, my friend. Hashtag Twilight Zone.
Poteet, Baker, Stanley, DeRozier, Wetz. So 10 cars still on track. Fastest lap so far was a 1 minute 21.539. That was Dylan Smith. Remember, Dylan Smith had some issues. Blew the gearbox in car number one.
Actually, Dylan Smith, our only retiree that didn't fall victim to the curb.
Did Erdman hit it?
I believe so.
I could be wrong, but we'll try and get some investigation because I don't know if Erdman hit it or not because he blew up in turn 1 and 2 of the oval.
Oh, maybe his didn't come from that then. But I mean, it could have been earlier damage from hitting it early in the race and we didn't catch it too. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I saw him hit it, but it could have been another car.
Again, our camera crew trying their best. We didn't know that ASN was going to cover this race until basically the last second. So we're kind of trying to go with what we have here. As thank you all for hanging out.
Oh, Kraus gets into looks like the 88 getting out of pit road. That's going to cost him a spot to Brandon Lambert.
As we appreciate you guys hanging out. As we're trying our best with a brand new system here on ASN tonight. So this puts, unless Columbia got a better run off of pit lane, puts Lambert in the lead.
Yeah, and you know, Lambert's been kind of quiet all night, but he was fast in the practice sessions. He was up in the top 3 or 4 for most of the time that he was running. He's not somebody you can count out here in this situation.
So Columbia, Lambert, Kraus, Poteet, Bailey. So I think, ignoring any ties to Philip Kraus, disclaimer. Yes, he's my NASA teammate, but I think it's Bailey versus Kraus. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I think that's what my gut's telling me, but then there's also the voice in the back of my head telling me that the 39 was hard to pass last time we saw him in the lead at a road course.
But then he also got sent into the wall.
Yeah, but the car who sent him is already retired, so...
Yeah, he decided, he tried to go into orbit from the curb, so I guess that's a very valid point.
He thought this was a rallycross race.
Yes, and NASA's raced in Charlotte a couple times, but the track is on the front side of the track.
Yeah,
near the
not
quad.
back here.
Yeah, not back here. Like we mentioned earlier on, we had some technical issues. We were unable to get the NASA shows out to you today. We are off next week for Solstice ProLine, so expect a triple header of NASA Rallycross coverage from Valkenswaard, Las Vegas, and then Vancouver in Bentwig. Coverage should start, I would say, about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll let you know. Green flag, Columbia leads Lambert. As Kraus to the inside, going into turn number 1. Will he lock it up? He does, but he's going to hold the spot. Through turn 2, Kraus nearly puts the 46 into the wall. There was no room between them.
Just about to say Lambert was going to have to lift, and then he powered back and held his spot.
As we talk about track limits all the time in NASA, well, you don't have to have track limits in Solstice because you have walls where there should be paint lines. There was a huge discussion in Valkenswaard for that NASA race because there was paint lines, and then 3 grooves away there was a wall. And they said, well, should we hit the wall or hit the paint line? They said, just go to the wall. It was too hard to judge. Lambert in second. He's holding up Kraus because Columbia's pulling away.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like Lambert really giving Kraus a hard time here. The 39 is just loving this as he's starting to kind of check out the gap.
Kraus to the
Where he
inside.
can get now.
From high above, Schwallenberg misses his braking point. He still saves it. And remember the dreaded
Thought maybe
curve.
he was going to go for a ride there.
The dreaded curb on the chicane there.
The curb of death.
And Kraus.
He's on a mission now. He's got 1 car to catch, and he's not going to waste any time doing it. He's already half the gap and just over 3 and 4.
We're on board the front bumper of Philip Kraus at the 91 to show you the speed of this track. Bailey and Lambert. The roof camera, like we said, we're experimenting with some stuff here today. Bear with us if there's any technical issues on board Philip Kraus here. It's Columbia trying to pull away. As Baker loops it in the 9 in the infield.
Kraus
Columbia.
hits a very excellent exit of the infield there.
As this field slowly getting spread out. As we're going to begin lap number 30. We're going to come to about 15 laps to go. 15 laps at a road course is a huge amount of time. Kraus is late on the brakes in the 91.
It's not going to hurt him, though, as he's going to have a massive changing gap and a run coming into 3 and 4.
He's going to get that done. I know Philip Kraus. I know what he does, and he's going to send it into this chicane. If he can get the run off the corner, off of oval turn 4, they both lock it up.
Didn't have the liner. I knew he was going to stick it down there and send it to the
Columbia hit the curb, though, and it puts Kraus through to the lead. Can Columbia send it back? He hits the curb. It upsets the car.
Into the wall also. Not a good move there. Not trying to throw shade. I don't think I would have done any better, but that was not the move Arnold Columbia needed.
I don't think it was him. I think it was just him trying to get down through the gears, locked up the rears, and it sent him.
Yeah, I don't think it was something intentional that he tried. I think it was definitely just that whole sequence of events.
Because I'll tell you, from a European racing background, they term it
Kraus is sideways. Columbia back by.
Just as I go to describe the curbs, we're having some interesting racing here, and you called it better than I could.
I just happened to be looking at the monitor while I was listening to you talk. I've really been bad about making eye contact, but every now and again it pays off.
As in the European racing scene, you'll notice the curbs have the little blue inner curb. They call it a sausage curb. Now, the reason why I'm explaining this is because Arnold Columbia hit that curb, and it sent him like it did. It's a lot like the F3 crash in Monza. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I know exactly the crash, but the name has slipped my
I
mind
think it
as
was
well.
Peroni. I think it was Alex Peroni. He hit the curb, it launched him into the air, and that's what we've been seeing here in Charlotte. So basically, don't hit the sausage curb. That's the #1 rule. They have that there so you can't exploit track limits, but they also really launch your car. So Columbia's back into the lead.
You can try to cheat the track limits, but it's gonna end with you seeing the sky and then the pavement again, as we saw from the 41 Brian Mercurio when he had his incident and got caught running in there.
So now, Columbia leads Kraus. Kraus backed up the first part of that apex, and he's going to miss the second part.
Bailey's gonna get inside of him here.
Bailey, huge runoff turn, #4, down
Taking
to
it
5.
easy through the uphill.
As Stanley and Wetz are 7th and 8th. We're going to keep an eye on them because they had some car issues when they hit the curbs as well. As Kraus runs it wide again in the 91.
Gets into the wall just enough to let the 51 close right back up to the bumper. And, you know, he's not doing anything but making this harder on himself, because the closer he lets that 51 get, the harder it's going to be to track down the 39, because that 51 is fast.
As Columbia leads Kraus, leads Bailey. Lambert. And these three are under a second. And Kraus
91's got the run.
on the
He's
outside.
going to get the lane this time.
Can he get the run into the final chicane?
He's got him set
Locks
up.
it up.
Columbia closes the door.
He holds it.
Like I said, you know, the 39 is a tough cookie when he's out front. He's a hard guy to get around. He knows how to drive defensively.
I expect Philip Kraus is practicing for the last lap.
I think this is all just him setting himself up to figure out what the best move is and when to make it if he finds himself in this position again late.
Because, you know, I'm remembering, he doesn't typically drive like that. Because, granted, I'm racing him for a championship. But we can typically know when he's
There's a whole lot more take than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. And I feel like he would probably send it to get the win. He wants to win twice in one season. Twice in, 3 weeks? And he's not even racing for the championship. It's such an odd season. I know we talked about this off air. It's such an odd season because of the fact that there's so many drivers that have won, and basically 4 of them are nowhere close to the playoffs. As Columbia runs it wide in the chicane, Bailey spins it and put Kraus.
Oh no.
Kraus through the lead. Bailey recovers for 4th, and Columbia now is going to have to chase down the 91.
He's going to have to deal with Brandon Lambert, who's closing quick here. You know, like I said, don't count Lambert out. He's not out of this yet.
As Kraus, 1 minute 23.545. Columbia 25.848. He was 2.3 seconds slower, obviously, given the little bobble there.
Okay, Josh, numbers are hard.
It's been a long week. It's been a very long week.
This is our third event in
Kraus
9 days.
spins it off the corner! The race leader!
Like, no matter what he tries, he's just giving this race back to the 39. Now it's the 39 and the 46 out front.
As I'm going to try and pull a replay here. He hit the curb.
Yeah, we said them curbs, you got to watch them, man. They are not anybody's friend here tonight.
Hit the curb in the 91. Got sent around.
The good news is there's still plenty of time left. There's going to be at least one more pit stop, we know, even if this thing goes green. So there's plenty of chance for rebound and making up time. Especially when you're as fast as he is.
He's still not losing a lot of time. We'll have to see when the intervals go through. But this is going to be a huge race. And I'll tell you what, now Philip Kraus is mad. And I've said
now he's
this,
going to be driving with some purpose.
I've said this on a NASA show, numerous NASA shows. When Philip Kraus is mad, he's a second faster than the rest of the field. And that's not an exaggeration. Just from food for thought. Columbia leads over Lambert half a second. A further second back to Bailey, and then Kraus is a second and a half back from Columbia. So we'll have to focus on the 91 to see if he can get the job done. Poteet in the 31, Schwallenberg, our pole sitter, in the 88. Stanley and Wetz battling for 7th. It's the crippled car class, if we split the classes up like sports car racing.
Victims of the curb and non-victims of the curb.
Correct. As Lambert getting close to Columbia. 1 minute 24.181 to a 167. They were equal on lap time. I don't think Lambert has anything for him though. Unless he can pull something here.
I think in less than 39 bobbles, Lambert's not going to do much more than maybe get to the bumper of him. But I feel like if the 39 makes a mistake, Lambert's right there ready to capitalize.
Running it wide, Schwallenberg in the 88. And Kraus closes in on the 51. And Bailey pits.
Oh, see, here's a little bit of that early strategy coming in.
So does Poteet. So they pit. This is going to change it. This is going to change because
Go.
now we'll have to wait and see if Columbia and Lambert are going to be bitten by the pit stop delta, because Schwallenberg, granted it was an unforced error and an unscheduled pit stop, but he ended up so much faster than the rest of the field. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the 51 team to see what they go ahead and they try. As Schwallenberg loops it in the 88, going up the uphill. Hopefully he doesn't come back out in front of Stanley. He does, but he's nowhere close to being hit by them, so there's really no issue there. Columbia 123.994, Lambert a 124, Kraus a 24.296.
Now that Bailey and Poteet have pitted, I don't think these guys can wait too long before they make a move.
Oh no, if your tires are shot now, if you try and stay out, you're just losing time. You're hemorrhaging time.
Yeah, it's not even losing, it's hemorrhaging. It's at an astronomical rate how much faster they are.
There's no way that you're going to cover the overcut or cover the undercut if you don't pit now.
And Lambert's going to be coming down this time. Looks like Columbia's going to come as well.
So does Kraus.
Everybody bringing it down now.
So from high above, where is Bailey? Bailey is entering the chicane now. And Poteet entering the chicane now. Bailey comes off of the chicane. These guys are nowhere close to pitting. This might have killed them. As here comes Bailey. Into the final chicane. The left sides are jacked on the 91, on the 46. Where's Bailey? Bailey's going to go by. The jacks are dropped on the 46 and 39. Where is Bailey? Bailey's in turn one. Bailey's gone by. So there's the pit stop. That's the delta. That's why I said there's no way that you're going to hold
just
that.
lose too much. Even in that one lap time, they lost so much.
His last lap was a 1 minute 44.331. We're going to see his lap time on fresh tires. 1 minute 33.269 was the pit lap. We'll have to wait. The timing's a little odd because obviously pit road is in the middle of the start-finish line.
Yeah, makes for some awkward laps in and out of the pits. You got to wait almost a 5 lap period before you see guys getting back to full speed. So you're going to have a little tire wear even then, but you're still going to be impeccably fast.
So Schwallenberg, Stanley, and Wetz, all with damaged cars, are in the lead of the race. Bailey's going to get by and hold the lead. And Bailey's early strategy, I think, obviously is helping him so far. Let's see what he runs this last lap. 122.378. Columbia ran a 45.277 on his pit stop rotation, so we're going to have to wait and see what they run on their first flyer. But I think that's what really sealed it. Obviously, we have some time left. There's still cars that have not pitted. But it's still going to be very difficult for these guys. As Wetz, Stanley, and Schwallenberg have not pitted. Lambert's going to pit this lap, I do believe. Unless that was incorrect, because he already had pitted.
Lambert came down with Kraus.
Okay. My scanner's a little bit delayed then. As Columbia spins it in the 39.
This is gonna have a pretty quick recovery and get back going the right way, but that once again not what you need here in these closing stages.
As Lambert holds the second spot. They're actually, as Columbia misses the breaking point of the chicane, and he's out. As he locked up the rear brake, missed the corner, tried to miss the curb. He hit the curb anyways, and the 39 out in Charlotte. This
What
is
a wild
huge.
race.
This is huge.
Everybody who's been fast has had an issue, it seems like, except for the 91 and
We talked about how Columbia was, I believe, on the outside looking into the playoffs, and this seals it. At least I do believe. Like I said, we don't have our statistician here tonight, so we'll have to update you in a couple weeks' time when we get to the playoffs. But it's been such an odd race.
the good news is he's guaranteed a top 10 at least, so that there's some help there, but it's not enough.
Bailey, 122.608. Lambert was 0.2 faster. Kraus, 122.751. We're coming to 5 to go here in Charlotte. These three still haven't pitted. It's 10 seconds is the gap. Maybe, dare I say it, maybe they're not pitting.
No, I'm starting to think that myself. Maybe they're not, because they've been slow enough that they could really clutch and take advantage of the fuel saving and tire saving. But Bailey put almost 3 seconds on him that lap. It's going to be really close.
Wetz cuts the chicane, hits the wall in the 71, hits Stanley. And Schwallenberg holds the lead. Wetz is now dispatched by Bailey. And Bailey's got 7.5 seconds to catch Schwallenberg, and he's got 5 laps to do it. Schwallenberg without second gear has broke second gear early on. Stanley second.
Yeah, right after the first stage.
Bailey third. Lambert and Kraus, this is for 5th. Poteet has been struggling all evening long, as DeRozier has as well. So is Baker. These guys have been having such a difficult race getting adapted to this track.
Yeah, the struggles continue for Nick Baker, though. Props to him for sticking through, really dedicating himself to getting some lap time with his new driving setup. I know they've been having some issues getting adjusted to that over there. But good to see him stick it out and really get some extra seat time to really try and get a grasp on what they can do going forward.
As Lambert gets passed by Kraus. Kraus is, it's about 5 seconds according to timing. 5 seconds is a huge amount of time. He's going to get by Wetz. Unless Bailey gets held up by Stanley or by Schwallenberg. 4 to go. Actually, 5 to go. I really need to learn how to count on my fingers.
It's
Bailey
okay. Numbers are hard, Josh.
Bailey is closing in. To be honest, we're in the twilight zone, so I can't count very well anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best at numbers always to begin with, and then you put me in the twilight zone, and my whole everything's just discombobulated.
What if Schwallenberg wins this race without second gear after all the stuff that we have been through? That'd be
Then
crazy. Twilight zone.
Intro for 2020 is the twilight zone for the whole year.
Yeah, whole year. Not even just one season, the whole year.
The whole year, A and B.
As Bailey,
Whether it be on iRacing, NR, whatever they bring, it's going to be that.
whether it's H3MP or ASN. Twilight zone.
Twilight zone every time.
Stanley moves over. I don't think he was going to try and fight Bailey, because he knows that with that damage on the 60, he's going to be nowhere close. Unless Bailey runs it wide, they both hit the curb, and they both have to stop.
Oh, man. Dylan Schwallenberg's got to be going nuts inside that car right now. The nerves and adrenaline have got to be just insane right now.
Without second gear, and look who's coming. It's Kraus in the 91. He was 0.6 of a second faster last lap. 4 to go. I got it right this time. 4 laps to go in Charlotte. Schwallenberg, 126.677. Bailey 124.804. Kraus 122.356.
The best part for Schwallenberg is that I think the 91 is going to get the 51 before the 51 gets the 88.
And then he has to hope that these guys are going to race.
Yeah,
And
he's gotta,
have
if,
him
he can
not
get, if they
worry.
can race for a lap or a lap and a half, he might be able to get this.
And the fact that he's been wheeling this car without second gear, such a crucial gear on this circuit, is huge.
Just this would be just the true underdog story if he were able to pull this off tonight.
If he had second gear, it wouldn't be, because he started from pole position, was much faster than everybody else, but the fact that he didn't have second gear, crashed on the restart, and here he is, holding the lead. But I think he might have
Not for
blown
long,
first.
though.
I think he might have blown third gear. We'll have to look.
That or a tire.
Blue third gear. That's it.
That's it. It's just gonna be the 91 and the 51 here,
yeah,
just like we said.
He's retiring. He's off the track. As soon as the 51 closed that gap, I knew what happened.
Yeah, it was just clear as day that car was missing.
3 to go. And he did confirm over the scanner that he was good on fuel mileage. What if for the 88?
What if? Just
It's
another exciting strategy that almost paid off.
The worst phrase you can say in racing. Another what if? What if these guys wreck and here's Lambert?
I told you, don't count out Lambert. There's lap traffic coming up too.
Kraus to the left, to the outside of Bailey. Bailey nearly put him off the track. Baker stays wide, out of the way of the race leaders.
Yeah, I don't think this race is over yet. This thing's getting interesting.
If these two come together, Lambert can make it 2 in a row. And oh boy, is this going to be a crazy finish.
You talk about, 2 in a row. We say it kind of nonchalantly, but could you imagine what that would do for Lambert's season and heading into the playoffs? The amount of momentum that team would be carrying?
Through the chicane. We're going to be 2 laps to go here in Charlotte. Joey Bailey leads over Philip Kraus. That's all the gap is. Into the final chicane. Bailey locks it up. Kraus so much easier on the brakes than the 51. The gap was 0.4 of a second. 4.5 tenths.
2 to go.
Kraus gets a much better exit out of the chicane.
2 laps to go. The gap is cut in half. He's getting very close in turn 1.
Looked like he might have been trying to avoid giving him the bumper there as he kind of backed off.
Philip Kraus is not a driver to bump people out of the way. He will pass you on merit unless you race him the same. I say that because I hit him once and he hit me back. But if you don't hit him, he will race you clean. And this is the battle. Kraus to the outside of Bailey.
What a run.
Running a different line. And then the 51, Bailey gets loose! And Kraus takes the lead. Can Bailey try it? Bailey's going to have to hold the draft. He's got a great run off the corner. This is going to come down to the chicane. I've got a feeling. This is not to do a... Oh, God, my hands are getting real sweaty. I'm getting, honestly, very anxious up here watching this race.
Well, Bailey with a great run through the bus stop. Gonna lose a little bit on the exit, but his entrance was phenomenal there.
I feel shades of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series coming. And Lambert's in the catbird seat.
Yes, indeed.
Final chicane. 1 lap for Philip Kraus. Bailey gets a huge run off the corner. White flag. This is
I almost don't even want to talk, Josh. This racing is so good. I just want to watch.
Kraus runs it wide in turn 1. He hits the wall nearly. Car length between them. Half a car length. Bailey loses it in turn 2. Car length still into turn 3. Bailey runs a little bit wider. Gap is closing ever so slightly. Bailey hits the apex of 4. Off of 4. He's going to hit the curb, and the gap lengthens. 2 car lengths, maybe 3. Can Bailey close it in the middle sector? Or can he close it in the final sector? Out of the infield. Bailey's going to have to send it in these last couple corners, or Philip Kraus is going to bring it home.
Well, we've seen what sending it can do. This could be a spectacular move for the win, or it could be a catastrophic failure.
Down the back stretch for the final time for Philip Kraus. Bailey's going to send it. He still has one corner left. Kraus leads
I don't
over
think he got
Bailey.
enough.
That's a huge gap to make up, but we've seen crazier. Kraus off of the final oval corner into the final chicane. Will Bailey send it? He's going to try it, but he's too far back. And Philip Kraus survives Charlotte and wins on the Roval ahead of Joey Bailey.
And Lambert's going to snake by for second as Bailey slowed down as he had to cut through the grass, making sure not to catch a penalty and get an EOLL. Instead, drops a position, will finish third tonight.
As Wetz comes home in fourth. As I think Jeremy Stanley had some issues there in the 60. As Poteet, I think, comes home in fifth. We're going to wait for timing to update. Poteet fifth. Stanley sixth. DeRozier seventh. Eighth Baker. Ninth Schwallenberg. 10th Columbia. 11th Mercurio, 12th Dylan Smith, 13th Cody Erdman, 14th Steve Rada. And what a race. I still can't figure out that that's what we just watched.
I was on the edge of my seat for those last 5 or 6 laps, man. That was just
Member
an
joined.
insanely entertaining period of time. What a great race we were treated here to tonight.
As Philip Kraus, you survived Charlotte, my friend. What the hell just happened during that entire race?
I got lucky. That's about it.
As how difficult was that? I mean, I know I asked you earlier, but I mean, surviving tires, overcoming the 3 that didn't pit. I mean, what was going through your mind?
I mean, it was really close. You were really on the limit here. If you missed the break by about 5 meters, you were gonna fly through the bus stop chicane, and we saw what happened when people flew through the bus stop chicane. It wasn't good. Brian got sent to a different atmosphere. I mean, a different planet. Sorry, English is hard.
It's okay.
Yeah, don't worry, Josh has been having
Wetz
number
got
difficulty.
deleted. I think, who was the other guy who got deleted? I don't remember.
Columbia, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Because it looked like he had made it through, and then he just sort of popped. Because I know I overshot it once, but I rode the wall and somehow didn't die. I probably should have DNF'd on like lap 3, but you know.
As Dylan, you got anything for our race winner?
Dude, just once again, way to put on a show, man. I think 5.5 laps to go, you were 11.6 seconds back, and you come back and get the win. That's just is awesome. Thanks for the treat. It was awesome to watch that race at the end between you and Joey.
Yeah, I think if we hadn't had some of the track glitches, I probably would have finished outside the top 5, to be honest. I definitely wasn't super quick. I just got lucky.
As good win, my friend. And you think you can make it for more Solstice races, or is this it for you? I know I asked you in Dover.
If schedule permits, I'll run. My schedule's sort of messed up right now, so I don't know.
Contact.
I'm so confused as to what we just happened. I think we should just wrap up and call it a night.
Yeah, I think our best deal is just to get the heck out of here, and we'll see you next week on ASN for the triple header from the NASA Rallycross Series, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the wildcard round at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really recap it other than that. Crazy race. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little odd. We were just trying to get over some technical glitches. We'll have that triple header for ASN NASA Rallycross coverage next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks in Daytona when we begin the playoffs. But from everyone here at ASN, Dylan Body, I'm Josh Mertz, Dylan Livigan, Brandon Nicholson. We'll see you in a couple weeks. So long, everyone.